once a slave, became a brilliant and powerful leader of the anti-slavery movement. In 1852, he was asked to speak in celebration of the 4th of July.
What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour forth a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed, and the crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.
The late, great James Earl Jones reading Frederick Douglass's 1852 speech, "What to the slave is the 4th of July?" Wow. The ancestors are talking, and when they speak, we listen. Not just with our ears, but with our memories, our bones, and the echoes in our lives. Sometimes the first time we truly see something is through a moment, a story, a spark that refuses to dim. I still remember mine about this country. I was 10 years old, homesick with the flu, too ill for school, but well enough to stay up past my bedtime. Wrapped in blankets, I stumbled onto a history my classroom never taught. The TV gave me roots. Children were torn from their families. A world built on chains and silence unfolded before me. It was overwhelming, but it cracked something open inside. Though I couldn't name it then, I began seeing people and the world through a new lens. Where school failed, art offered the truth I needed, hard as it was to face. It gave me a mirror. It gave me a window. And that's exactly what this podcast aims to do. Hi, I'm Gary Mobley, and welcome to The Mirror and the Window, a space for unpacking identity, history, and leadership through the lens of art, culture, and truth. Today's episode, the fireworks and the fury, patriotism, pain, and the price of erasure. We're talking about the paradox of separating or celebrating freedom in a country that hasn't always made freedom feel real for everybody. Here's the big question I've been sitting with. What does it mean to be proud of where you're from when where you're from has also tried to erase who you are? In this episode, we dug into that through film, memory, and the contradictions we carry. Because 4th of July brings up a lot. Not just barbecue and fireworks, but no. Also the smoke of history, unextinguished, unresolved. It brings joy for some and grief for others. Across America, flags wave proudly, and if you didn't know better, you may think we're all on the same page, celebrating freedom, unity, and what it means to be an American. Some joy? Yes. But for many of us, especially Black Americans, the celebration doesn't come so easily because this day carries deep emotional weight, a weight of contradiction, ambivalence, rooted in historical truth and contemporary struggle. Yes, as the fireworks burst across the sky, I can't help but pause. Because in 1776, as the Declaration of Independence was being drafted, there was a line, a bold one, that called out slavery as a moral evil. And then in a quiet room, behind closed doors, men like Jefferson, Adams, and Franklin made a choice.
Not only a declaration of our independence, but of the rights of all men. No, this is well said, sir. Very, very well said. The Christian king of Great Britain has waged cruel war against human nature itself in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere.
Yes, you lay the evils of slavery at the feet of the king, but you say nothing of slavery itself, sir. Now, surely, if the trade is outlawed but ownership is not, then those unfortunate Negroes still in servitude will become a more lucrative commodity.
Well, that's not what I intended, Dr. Franklin. Slavery is an abomination and must be loudly proclaimed as such, but I own that neither I nor any man has any immediate solution to the problem.
Oh, but 'tis no matter. The issue before us is independence and not emancipation.
Dr. Franklin, this document is
something our friends in the Congress will debate, but I would be very surprised if they will countenance an attack on slavery.
They cut it. Not because it wasn't true. Oh, no. But because naming that truth was inconvenient. They said the moment was about independence, not emancipation. So the contradiction was written in the very beginning. Freedom declared for some while others remain in chains. Considered property, their lives, their dignity, their humanity. They weren't included in those promises of liberty and justice. And the truth, that disconnect still echoes. In Amistad, we witness the violence of enslavement, not just through chains and beatings, but through calculated stripping of identity. Bodies stolen, names erased, languages silent, cultural memory shattered, spiritual practices extinguished. That wasn't just bondage, it was erasure. What makes Amistad unforgettable is not only the injustice, but the dignity that survives it.
Give us free. Give us free. Give us free.
Your Honor, please instruct the defendant that he cannot disrupt these proceedings with such outbursts.
Give us free.
If we are to have any semblance of order in this court, Your Honor.
Give us free. Give us free.
crying out, "Give us free," or anything else. I'm sorry to question this witness.
Give us free! Give us free!
Even in shackles, Senke and his people hold their history, their faith, and their humanity. The film reminds us dignity is not granted by law, it's carried by spirit. Too often we're told the story of slavery through the eyes of the oppressor, framed by textbooks, monuments, and narratives that dilute the full weight of that truth. Amistad dares to center the humanity on the enslaved. It challenges us to see them, not as property, but as men, thinking, grieving, resisting, remembering. Amistad reminds us these weren't just chapters of suffering, they were declarations of humanity in a world determined to ignore it. Their resistance still speaks if we're willing to listen, and for me, it wasn't just a history lesson. It stirred something deeper, a recognition of what it means to hold onto your own dignity when the world insists you're invisible. Their story didn't just live in the past, it reached forward into me and maybe into you. What is the earliest memory of questioning the meaning of freedom in America? When have you felt left out of the story that's supposed to include you? What does it mean to love something and still critique it? Deeply, especially when the love is wrapped in flags, anthems, and fireworks that don't always reflect the place in the story. Whew. So as the skies light up with celebration, I'm reminded that fireworks can dazzle, yes, but they can distract from what's being buried, from who's been forgotten, from the parts of our story we still haven't told the truth about. But memory is a kind of a fire too. We carry it forward not to burn the house down, no, but to illuminate every room. Because if we're going to celebrate freedom, we need to tell the full story of how and who got left out. And who kept fighting anyway. And maybe the real question isn't just about history. It's about us. Where are the contradictions in your own story? Where have you been expected to celebrate something that never truly saw you? What do you do with that kind of inheritance? This journey we're on is not just about the past. It's about making space for truth so we can live more fully in the present and lead more honestly in the future. Let's keep going because this story is far from over.